Peace everyone, Unmasked Art here, and today I will be doing a collaboration with YouTube artist ImportAutumn. This is the piece I will be drawing today, and he will be doing the other half of it, which I will link at the end of this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So real quick, the supplies that I'm going to be using in this drawing are the Letraset Tria markers, Luminance colored pencils, and a Jelly Roll Sakura white gel pen. The paper that I'm drawing on for this is a Strathmore Bristol Smooth paper. It's one of my favorite papers to use when using this technique. And what you see me doing is I'm using the Tria markers to kind of set a base coat of color for the picture. I used a bright orange color for most of the red part of the bug, and that's going to kind of serve as my undertone highlight color. And then I go through with just a gray color of all the black parts of the bug, and this really helps when I go back through with my colored pencils to not have to use so much pressure in colored pencil to get good coverage with the colors that I'm going to use. The next thing I do after laying down those colors is I just go through with my black pencil on some of the spots, and then I start using my reds and dark brown colors to start contouring the shell of the wings and make it look more realistic. Because I'm familiar with Nick's style and his artwork, for this collaboration I really wanted to create something that really contrasted his style by creating something as realistic as possible. And so that's what I'm going for with this piece. And so I'm just continuing to contour the shell of the wing until I get it just the way I want it. And I'm using the colorless blender here. When I do a undercoat of marker, I don't use paint thinner to blend out my colored pencils because I'm not sure how it will react to the markers. Instead, I like to use my colorless blender by Luminance because it's one of my favorite colorless blenders to use. I've used the Prisma colorless blender and it doesn't seem to work nearly as well as the Luminance colorless blender. The next thing I do is I just move on to the other parts of the orange and get those looking the way that I want before moving on to the darker parts. And you can see here now I'm going through with a darker gray and also a blue marker. I'm using the blue marker not because the bug itself is blue, but because it kind of gives me this tint to work off of. And so when I go back over it with the black colored pencil that you see here, a little bit of that blue still shows through and it gives me that really nice bug kind of skin texture. And it just worked out really well. And then I go back through and blend everything out with the colorless blender. And I kind of continue this same process for the rest of the bug. This drawing remarkably did not take very long because of the techniques that I'm using the markers as an undercoat and getting most of my colors done with the markers instead of the colored pencils. And it's a lot easier to get coverage with the markers than colored pencils. And then once you have the markers laid down, it's actually even easier to lay colored pencils over top of them. So you can see here, now I'm working on the details of the wings, and really what I'm doing is just kind of drawing random lines using the black to kind of create those veins that you see in bug wings. And then in the spaces in between I use a gray colored pencil to kind of lighten it up and create a better contrast to kind of give that translucent effect. And then the last thing that I do is I take my white jelly roll pen and I add all the really bright white highlights that you get on the shell of the bug. And this is what really brings this piece to life. And then also adding all the details to the wings with the white really makes the wings look shiny, translucent, and it gives all that texture. Anyway, so here's the final piece with Nick's side added to it. Be sure to check out his channel, subscribe, and check out his video as well. Also, if you support my channel on Patreon, the high-resolution reference photo and color palette for this drawing is available to you now. Also, I added a new reward to my Patreon that not only allows you to download the high-resolution reference photo and color palette, but each month I will be sending out a postcard featuring one of my artworks. So check it out if you'd like. Anyways, that will be it. I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.